With Star Wars Andor Season 1 getting closer to its end, and with Tales of the Jedi now officially out on Disney+, a lot of Star Wars fans are really gearing up for shows out there like Mando Season 3, the Ahsoka Tano series, and a lot more in the works by John and Dave for 2023. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way guys, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you also very much for the kind support. It is greatly appreciated. Now, one thing about the new universe between John and Dave is that what they are currently building from the ground up is by cherry-picking from Star Wars Legends and how they can find the balance of mixing that in with the already existing Star Wars canon material. Now that brings us to what Disney executives are up to behind the scenes and how this actually involves and pertains to John and Dave. Now, as you all know, Disney is now really and desperately trying to bring Star Wars back to the big screen and back into theaters, and they already have a lot of things in the pipeline as we speak for theatrical releases of these new Star Wars movies, and of course these new plans for the franchise to not just focus on television. So as you all remember, this was all started by Kathleen Kennedy, the whole hiatus of Star Wars movies. This was all because of Kathleen Kennedy, by the way. It really didn't have all that much to do with Disney in the beginning. It eventually turned into that from Bob Iger, but it was really all because of Kathleen Kennedy calling the shots at the time, back in, I would say, around 2018, right after Solo, A Star Wars Story debuted. Now that brings us to what big development actually just occurred between Favreau and Filoni and how it does involve Disney's plans for new theatrical releases. Now, with Disney and Lucasfilm now focusing on the movie end of Star Wars to bring Star Wars back to the theaters with one-off films and even new Star Wars trilogies, just recently, both Favreau and Filoni made their final decision on one of the upcoming Star Wars trilogies that is currently dubbed as the fourth trilogy to become a part of the new installments as co-writers. Now, it's noted that this new trilogy is set to focus on the old Republic era of the franchise that has never been explored before in live action just yet. Now, it's noted that both John and Dave have signed on for this new trilogy that will focus on characters like Darth Revan, Malgus, and even other Sith Lord characters. The main writers are still being chosen by Disney executives right now, where Favreau and Filoni will also be calling the shots on the creative side of things for this new Star Wars trilogy. Let me just stop here before we get to the more involved details. Now, John and Dave have agreed to sign on for this new trilogy as co-writers, and that makes a lot of sense because, let's face it, they're very busy also with the Star Wars TV shows and the Mandoverse, so I get it. They don't want to be main writers, so that makes a lot of sense. But this definitely is going to enhance the quality of the new movies, so to speak. And as you all know, co-writers have a big influence on the main writers. You know, they have all these discussions, they have a lot of debates over what to do and what not to do, and it really kind of just throws things into perspective. And it just goes to show you that there are a lot of great things coming out of Favreau and Filoni's work that's now being spilled into the movie side of Star Wars, the movie end of the spectrum, right? And that, I think, is probably the biggest positive of all when it comes to Star Wars right now, is exactly how Favreau and Filoni's influence of positivity on the Star Wars fandom is now reaching over to the movie side of the franchise via the Disney executives allowing this to happen. And this is great news, by the way, because this just goes to show you that Disney is really trying to turn things around. You know, I don't care if it's out of desperation or if it's out of pure generosity here. Either or, this is great because they are trying to really rebuild Star Wars and bring it back to what it truly is, you know, meant to be, philosophically speaking, and of course in the literal sense. So, moving on to the next thing here, what's even all the more exciting about this new development between Favreau and Filoni is that, of course, Disney is looking to making this trilogy a mixture of tones, similar to Game of Thrones, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings fused with Star Wars to give it a both dark, gritty, and magical feel to it all, where it will all focus on the Jedi as well. Now further, this new trilogy is also set to focus on the origin of the Sith and the Jedi, as well as it will uncover ancient secrets related to both sides. Now again, this is a very interesting side story that's being pitched between Favreau and Filoni to the Disney executives, is exploring the origin of the Sith and the Jedi as a side story during the days of the Old Republic. I don't know if you guys know this, but the Old Republic in Legends, it took place thousands upon thousands of years before Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. So that's a lot of things to cover, and a lot of opportunities of which avenues they can really explore, or where they can really pick up from. So, obviously now, Disney has a lot of things in the pipeline. They're even working on an Old Republic TV show to kind of tease of what's to come for this new Star Wars trilogy. That's their game plan right now. Keep your eyes open for that, as they are planning to announce that next year at Celebration as well. Now, the next thing. Now, this has already been discussed between John and Dave and those over at Disney pre-planning the structure of this new trilogy. Disney wants to make sure the trilogy will have plenty of things for fans to figure out over the years and piece things and hints together for the overall story. Disney is planning to make an official announcement for this new trilogy by the end of next year into 2024, around the holiday season at the earliest, for the fans to get hyped up over. Actor Keanu Reeves is already set to appear in these new movies as Darth Vitiate, as we discussed a couple of weeks ago. So, what's great about this is that not only is this going to be a trilogy of films, but it's going to be very lore heavy. It's going to cater to the fans. It's going to allow fans to theorize, to piece things together over the years, just as fans did with the sequel trilogy films, but it's going to be more advanced than that. You know, they're going to have a nice structure. They're going to have all these stories pre-planned right from the beginning. There's not going to be like, you know, throwing things in the air and see what works, like what JJ and Ryan did. This is going to be an actual system of Star Wars movies that will be all pre-planned right from the very beginning to determine the beginning, the middle, and the end, and how it all works together, and how it connects to other Star Wars shows out there as well. So that's great news. I think that at the end of the day here, the Old Republic is by far the one thing that hardcore fans have been asking for a very long time. It has been in discussions for a very long time. Even Kathleen Kennedy confirmed this in that interview right around when I believe The Rise of Skywalker was being marketed. She said, the Old Republic, we talk about it every single day. Alright, so thankfully though, Kathleen Kennedy will not be involved in any way, shape, or form on this, creatively speaking, so that's a plus. And what's also a plus is that they are planning to use John Williams' music in these new movies. Not that he's gonna be coming back, but they're gonna be reusing traditional themes in the films. So anyways, guys, you know, drop a comment below. Let me know what you guys have to say about this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.